friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Justina, and here I like to make, create, and inspire fun art things with you through my DIYs. Now, as you see by today's title and clicking on today's video, it is finally here, our very first Christmas in July DIY video just for you. These DIYs were really easy, affordable, and fun to do, and I really hope that you enjoy. Remember, friends, if you are new here and haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I really hope you enjoy. Don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. It really does help out my channel. Now, with all that being said, let's just jump right into it and let's art today. For our first DIY, it is only fitting to make a Christmas wreath. So I have a 14-inch wreath form from Dollar Tree, and I am wrapping it with this decorative ribbon that I purchased from Dollar General for $5. This was a perfect purchase because it comes with a lot of ribbon, and I have been using this for a lot of DIY so far. So if you've been following my channel, you already know that I like to wrap my wreath forms before adding any decorative stuff onto it, just so that if I need to glue anything down, I have a nice base layer to put everything on. This part is totally optional. You do not have to wrap your wreath form. However, I like to do so, like I mentioned, because if I was to glue stuff down, which I am, I have a base layer to hold on to. So all I did was wrap it onto itself, glued it into place, and then started wrapping it all the way around, making sure to pull tightly as I go all the way around the wreath so it is nice and snug. Once you have a nice rhythm going, this doesn't really take as long as it looks. However, I did speed it up so that you didn't see me wrap the whole thing. After I got to the end, I did wrap it a couple more times, hot glued it into several places so that it had a nice secure finish. As you see here, I'm pulling the last little bit, hot gluing it down, and then pressing firmly. I do have to put on my finger protectors because it is super hot, and this helps dry the glue even faster. And after that was completed, my whole wreath form was wrapped. Now, I found these decorative ornaments from the 99-cent store when they were going out of business. It was originally $7.99 for the whole thing. However, it was 80% off, so I did get a couple of packages. I really love this one because it did come with these shiny black ornaments. After I opened up the package, I started unloading all of the ornaments. Now, at first, I thought I was going to use all of the ornaments that came in that package. However, the silver ornament was just not fitting into the style that I am going for. So I started taking out the ornaments and placing them into a pattern. I first started off with the black shiny ones, which I just think are absolutely gorgeous. Then I went in with the red, it looks like a roped pattern around the ornament, and then the white shiny one next, and then another red one and black, and so on and so forth. Now I am attaching all of my ornaments with my hot glue gun. This has a basic glue stick in it. However, I usually use my Gorilla glue stick. I just ran out, so I'm just using this, and they stayed together pretty nicely. After this, I did drop it and none of them popped off, which was really nice to know. So I am just going to continue this pattern all the way around, adding hot glue right onto the wreath form, and then adding a dollop of hot glue in between each ornament so they hold on to each other. After I have the outer round all filled up, this is how the wreath form looks already. Now, it didn't go perfectly all around with the pattern. Nonetheless, you can't really tell when you start adding the next row. So I am starting the next row, which is the inner row, using the same size ornaments. Once again, I'm going in a certain pattern and adding them using my hot glue gun. I'm adding a huge dollop right onto the wreath form, and then a small one in between each of the ornaments to hold each other into place. Now, this DIY did take some time. However, this was very therapeutic to me, putting all of the ornaments onto the wreath. Now, this is how it looks after all of my inner ornaments have been glued into place. Once again, it did not not line up perfectly. However, you cannot tell later on when I add more ornaments. Right here is where they didn't really match up. I just added a nice big ornament in the center, trying to space it out so that when I add more ornaments onto it, you won't be able to tell. Next, I have these smaller ornaments to fill in the middle portion of my wreath. I purchased them from Dollar Tree a couple years ago, and I still have a lot left over. I am placing a nice dollop of hot glue right onto the ornament and placing it into the center. I then continue this until the whole middle section is completely full. Now with these smaller ones, I only had reds and white, but they all had different textures. So I had some sheer ones, some see-through ones, and also some glittery ones. I really wish I took the time and made black ones, took it outside and maybe spray painted them and add some glitter to them as well. Nonetheless, this really turned out so cute and I absolutely love it. After the middle portion was completely full, this is how my wreath looks, and it is so pretty. However, I still wanted to add more decorations to it, so I took out all of my Christmas ribbon that I had on hand, and I am wanting to use all of it. I did buy most of these ribbon from Dollar Tree and Dollar General, and the white ribbon I purchased from a thrift store a couple years ago, and it has lasted me literally years. I have done so many DIYs with it. Now I wanted to start off with this silver ribbon. Even though I didn't want to use silver ornaments, I really felt like the silver ribbon would give it a nice pop of different color and variation that I'm going for. So I took a want to say 4, maybe 5 inches, rolled it out and then cut it down and cut a few more pieces. Then with the next ribbon, I am just cutting off the part that says Merry Christmas, and I did the same for the rest of the ribbon. Next, I am taking a dollop of hot glue, placing it on the edge of my ribbon as you see here, and folding it onto itself, pressing down firmly. This will give me a nice loop, and then I can stick it into a little crease and hot glue it into place. I really love this look. That way I'm saving a bunch of ribbon and just placing it where I see fit. For my Merry Christmas ribbon, I am placing it around ornaments. That way you can see the word Merry Christmas. That is the only ribbon that I did this for. For the other ribbons, I just did the same method with looping it onto itself, hot gluing it into place, and then sticking it wherever I see fit. I will continue this until the whole wreath is covered, and after that, that completes our first DIY. Here is how my wreath turned out. I absolutely love it. It is super gorgeous and it really fits in with my decor for this year's Christmas. I would love to know what you think about this DIY down in the comment section below. Moving right on to our second DIY, I have 2 pieces of scrap wood that I had in my crafter stash. It seems like forever, so I can't really tell you where I got it from, but I'm pretty sure you can find the same size ones at Dollar Tree, or you can just look in your scrap wood to see if you have the same size. Next, I have Waverly chalk paint in the color Snow White, and I want to give this a really rough paint job. I don't want to cover it completely, but I don't want it to be totally wood, so I am going in very aggressively and I'm covering the whole thing, but not fully 100%. Now with the second piece of wood, since it was already painted on by my little one, I did have to use several coats, and nonetheless I still cover it up so you won't be able to see. However, the black of whatever they used to cover it did come up, so I did have to do a second coat and it still showed up. But that is the back of this project, but I did show that I did cover it using the same method. Now as you see here, they are completely dry, and this is what I mean by roughly covering it up. I mean, you can do the same thing by adding paint and then sanding it down to get that look, but I just did it this way. Next, I wanted to cover the pieces of wood with ribbon, and I found this one in my crafting stash. I believe I purchased it from Dollar Tree a while back, and I'm hot gluing it down to place because these little wooden pieces are now going to be little presents. Since this piece of wood did have the paint showing through, I am using a thicker ribbon, and once again I'm hot gluing it right onto itself using my little finger protector so I don't burn my fingers, and then flipping it over. I'm using that Merry Christmas ribbon that we used in our first DIY and doing the same method, wrapping it across itself so it looks like a Christmas present. Now at first it was a little bit too bland, so I am going in with this white ribbon. Once again, I found that at a thrift store years ago. It was for about $1.99, and I've been using it up for years and it's still going strong. I'm just wrapping it right along the red ribbon and then placing a little dollop of hot glue onto itself and cutting off the excess. Now, as you may notice, I am using my brand new Surebonder Hot Glue Gun. This is not sponsored, by the way. My spouse bought it for me because I was complaining about the bigger one being too big for certain projects, and I finally got one, so thank you so much for getting that for me. If you are interested in the same hot glue, I'll make sure to link it down in the description box for you. Here's how it looks so far, and I just think it's absolutely adorable. Next, I took more of that same white ribbon and started making little loops like I did in our first DIY. I just take about 4 to 5 inches, flip it over onto itself, add a little bit of hot glue, and then press down. That way it can look like a little bow that is in the center of our little present here. Then I took 2 more of the ribbon, cut it down to size, and then dovetailed it so I have little tails for my presents. I am just dry fitting it here. That way when it is time to glue down, I know exactly where to place them back. Once again, I am using my hot glue to attach everything together, and once that was completed, I did place that off to the side to start working on our second present. Now for this present, I wanted it a different direction so that it was different height variation, and to decorate it, I am doing it a little bit different. I have these fat quarters that I purchased from Walmart a couple years ago, and I still have plenty left over. But if you cannot find fat quarters at Walmart, which is really hard to believe, but if you can't, you can always find them at Dollar Tree. And I have this plaid one that I thought was perfect for Christmas, and I am cutting off 2 strips that are about 1 inch or 2 inches wide. Then when I was done cutting off my strips, I am using them to wrap my gift as well. I am starting off with the middle section. This is where I noticed that I wanted it to be shorter than the first one, so I did flip it over once I got my first piece on, and then I hot glued each one to the back using my hot glue gun once again. Now I wanted both of my presents to have bows, but for this one I have this nice cream ribbon that has snowflakes and a snowman on it, and I did purchase that from Dollar Tree. Now I do take a nice long strand, cut it, and then I have a long struggle trying to make a bow. Making bows is not my strong suit. I knew that if I made a shoelace bow, the ribbon wouldn't show the print on the front, so then I just went back and did my little loop ribbon bow, which is just making 2 loops and then crisscrossing it so it looks like a bow. Then I am using hot glue to attach it down to the center, and then cutting off the excess ribbon to make it more fitting. I did dovetail the bottoms of it so it looks like little tails from the ribbon, and then for the center I wanted to add these glittery glass fillers in the center so it looks like little berries, and I did add 1 large one and 2 smaller ones and then hot glue them all together. Lastly, I just wanted to add a little bit of greenery, so I found this Christmas garland piece that I had left over in my crafter stash, place it behind it, and that completes this DIY. I think these are absolutely adorable, really fun to make and easy to do. Only took a minute to put this all together. The longest thing I believe on this DIY was trying to make a bow, but I would love to know what you think about these DIYs down in the comment section below. I had purchased this gather sign a couple years ago as well, and it's just been hanging around my crafting stash, and I finally get to use it today. I did purchase this at Dollar Tree, and I believe they have different types of houses just like this. One says gather, I believe one says family, and I believe one says home, but I am not quite sure on the last one. However, I did remove it from the packaging, and next I want to cover it using some Christmas scrapbooking paper. I love using scrapbooking paper on holiday decor pieces because it just brings another layer of color and just fun for your decor pieces. So for this, I pulled out a couple of pieces of different types of scrapbooking paper so I can place them onto my houses. I first have this little house scrapping book paper, and I place one of the letters right on top of it using a pen to trace out the little wooden house, and I do the same for the second house as well. Then I'm just going to take a pair of scissors and cut out the house print that we just traced and then place it to the side. Now I wanted this to be a cohesive piece, so I am using the same scrapbooking paper for two of the houses. So I will have the two of this print, two of another print, and two of a final print. Hopefully that will make sense, and I'm sorry if I confuse anybody, but two of the houses will have the same print. There are 6 letters in the word gathered, so it was perfectly fine to cut out 2 of each print, is what I'm trying to say. I know that's confusing. Let me stop saying that. You can just see what I'm doing here. I continue doing it for the rest of the houses. After I have all of the paper cut out, this is how it looks. As you see here, I do have 2 of each print on there. And to attach everything together, once again, I am just using my hot glue gun. I'm sorry that I'm at a frame here. I didn't know I was all the way to the side, but I just added a little bit of hot glue on the wooden house at the bottom, placed my paper on top, and then I press down firmly and then continue adding hot glue all the way up until the house was completely covered. Then I continued doing the same technique for all of the houses. Once all of the houses were completely glued down, I have this 3-piece set that I purchased from Target a couple of years ago as well that I never used, and I want to place my houses right on top of one of the signs. I picked this one that says fa la 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 and has a green frame around it. I just thought it was adorable. Plus it was a nice pop of green after all of the red that's on the paper. I am attaching all of my houses right on top using hot glue once again, and then just placing the house right on top of it, then attaching each house together once again with a little bit of hot glue to each other. Now at first, as you see here, the house all the way on the edge was hanging off a little. I do fix that a little later, but I don't show it. All I did was pop it back off and then glued it over just a little so that all of it was nice and flat on top of my fine. So I keep attaching it using my hot glue. Now if you wanted a more permanent hold, you can always use wood glue or E6000. However, since the wooden houses were very thin, it did hold up nicely with just using hot glue. Now for my last little bit of detail, I wanted it to look like it had snow fallen all over my sign and my houses, so I'm going in with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Snow White, and I'm dry brushing it all over my sign and my houses, and once that was dry, that completes this DIY. I absolutely love this sign too. Now since this did have a tooth hook on the back of it, you can hang it on the wall, or you can also place it onto a tabletop with a little bit of Jenga pieces on the back of it. However, I chose to hang mine and I absolutely love it. All right, friends, that completes today's DIYs, our very first Christmas in July for 2024, and I absolutely loved how all of these DIYs turned out. but I would love to know which one was your favorite down in the comment section below. I had a blast making these, and I have so much more in the works for you. July is a busy season for me because I have a lot of birthdays throughout the month, and also having 2 types of DIY videos coming out for you. Now, if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. Plus, we would love to have you here for our virtual art family. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate each and every one of you. But if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. It does help out my channel. And lastly, if you can share it to at least one of your friends who love Christmas as much as I do, so that this video can reach more people. Thank you all so much for watching. I really had a blast making all of these DIYs. I am super excited for more to come out. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.